Good morning and welcome to the Saturday preview. Live from the car park in Cheltenham. It's Friday morning, it's 11:30. I've literally got about 20 minutes now, and this will be the only 20 minutes I get between now and tomorrow to do any sort of a video at all. It's chucking it down with rain here. This looks like it's setting pretty much until early afternoon. They say it's going to clear up around 2. And then it's going to come back again tonight. They're expecting a total, anything up to 5 to 6 mil today, and probably another 10 overnight, I reckon. So by the time race time comes around tomorrow, you can put your bottom dollar on it. It'll be soft ground. Newbury and Doncaster as well tomorrow. I may put bets up for those when I've had another look at the meetings. I'm a bit sick of playing on the flat on ground that's just up to the neck in it, and Doncaster might even be off tomorrow from reports from the north. It's horrendous up there, and they're expecting another 30 mil overnight. So half of me is quite happy just to leave it alone and look at the Cheltenham card instead, which, as I say, I've had a look at already this morning, and it's there's 2 or 3 really interesting races on the card at Cheltenham tomorrow, and I think there are some bets. So we'll crack on, as I say, because I ain't got long. First race is the 3 mile 1,500 handicap chase, where earlier on in the week I was thinking, is this Minella Rocco's chance? Again, the weather has completely scuppered the old boy, as it always does. It's interesting that they're bringing him back at the age of 9. I thought that would be it after Fairy. I thought that might be a swan song, but they clearly think there's something to be gained with him. But no, wait for another day for Minella Rocco. He'll get another drop in the weights after he finishes tailed off again here, and there'll be a race for him somewhere, but it ain't this one. The ground is going to be the worry for a few of these. I think on slightly better ground, the Young Master might have been extremely interesting. Similarly, I thought Shantou Village, the Mulholland pair, both of those two, moderately interesting. Cogra is going to have his supporters tomorrow. Obviously, this is very much his course, and the trip's absolutely fine. But again, does he want slightly better ground than this? Don't know. I ended up going with a couple. Rock the Casbah as my first one, who's gone well fresh in the past. No problem, I don't think, with conditions. He might not want it hot deep, but I don't think it'll get that bad tomorrow. I think it'll be soft ground rather than heavy. Soft will be absolutely fine. He does tend to sort of find most grounds come alike to him anyway. Gone well fresh, as I say, in the past. I think he'll get a lead from 1 or 2 here. He doesn't have to lead. Last time he won round here last November, he sat himself in 3rd, and he was quite happy there. So I think he'll get a lead off 1 or 2 of these. I thought Rock the Casbah, marker 150, looked moderately interesting, and if it does turn into a bit of a slugfest tomorrow, then Little Cross Park, who hosed up on his seasonal debut last year. I was there that day at Uttoxeter when he made absolute mincemeat of Another Frontier and the rest of them, and then he did nothing really but improve all season. Ended up winning the Ida at Newcastle, which, those are probably going to be some of his targets again this season, and you can argue that 3 mile 1 is going to be a bit sharp. But if it turns into a slog tomorrow, I think he's better equipped to cope with that than a few of these. And the fact that he won the first time up last season so easily suggests that he can go well. He can go well fresh as well. Marker 146, he's going to have to defy a new high. All he did was, go up in the weights last season. That's hardly surprising given how well he ran. And we may not quite yet have seen the very peak of Cross Park. At 9, he's still got probably another season or 2 of staying chasers ahead of him, and he might be able to defy the mark. So they'd be my sort of 2 against the field. Again, it's all going to depend on prices. No prices out yet, so we don't know. 235 is the Masterson. Not a bad little field. Torpillo's never really been a favourite of mine, but I think he'll be best equipped to cope with the conditions tomorrow, and the fact that he's sort of coming in here race fit's going to help. Easy enough win at Chester last time out. Nelson River, I know they were talking Nelson River's chances up. Certainly Tony Carroll was on not at the race, whatever they call it, Sky Sports race about a month ago. He's saying how much they think of him, but he's a flat swan. I'm sure he's going to want better ground than this. That'd be my worry tomorrow with Nelson River, but he'll be winning races later on in the season. Similarly, a Fan de Soy, I don't think wants it as deep as this. He ran okay behind Band of Outlaws. We travelled really well that day in the Fred Winter. I just think he'll want slightly better ground to finish his race off with. I think if it gets really deep tomorrow, it'll be a problem for him. But he's a horse I really liked a lot last year. Saw him when he was second here to Nelson River, and thought he was the nicest horse in the paddock that day. So at the minute, I'm sort of thinking Torpedo, but again, I can see him being towards the head of the market. I'd probably put him in around about I don't know, probably about a 3-to-1 chance looking at it, and anything around there would be a fair price. If he was bigger than 3s, I might be tempted to get interested. But the race I'm more interested in, and probably the most interesting race at Cheltenham tomorrow, is definitely this 2-mile handicap chase that follows at 3:10. What an absolute carve up this is going to be. You got St Calvados, you got Gino Trail, Knock Nanus, and I'm sure there was another one I was looking at. There's about 4 front runners in the race, and this is going to be run hell for leather, and that surely gives Do It for the Village a really good chance of picking these off late. Consistency isn't Do It for the Village's strong point, but we know he acts around Cheltenham absolutely fine. The ground won't be an issue for him. He always comes on for a first run of the season, so I wouldn't be too worried about the fact that he was well beaten at Chepstow behind the Bay Birch first time up. He'll come on an awful lot for that. The key is going to be a clear round of jumping, which he doesn't always put in. If he does, it's really not hard to see him come in there at the last to come and pick the front runners off. I think he's got a marker 139. He's workable. He'd be my first pick for the race. And if there is one that's going to get off the front tomorrow, then maybe it's Gino Trail. Maybe old Gino Trail, 12 years old, but retains all his enthusiasm. We know that 2 mile soft ground and Cheltenham's very much his thing. You've only got to sort of go back 12 months and a bit more to find him sort of finishing second to the Parisian in a grand annual here off a marker 152. He's off 149. They're swapping the headgear tomorrow. Try a visor on him instead of the usual cheap pieces. That might just perk his ideas up a little bit as well. But again, he's the one that won't mind if this rain keeps falling. The other front runners, I mean, St Calvados, I think he got away with soft ground at Kelso last time, and I don't think it was dreadfully deep ground there. And I just think, I know he's the sort of class act of this field, if you like, but he's going to have some hassle on the front. Knock Nanus is a very, very interesting horse this season. He's got all the scope in the world for fences. It never really quite happened for him last year after very impressive first couple of starts at Cheltenham and at Newbury. But there's still time for him yet for it to come right. But I do think tomorrow, Do It for the Village. I'd have him nearly favourite for this, and I've got a feeling he won't be. I'm hoping that the firms cock it up a little bit and shove him in around about sort of 7-8 to 1. I'd be very interested at that sort of a price, I think, because it's just going to be, it's set up for him. It's his race, I think. Then the rest of the card, there's a couple of races towards the end of the card I'm not massively interested in. But the 3 mile handicap hurdle tomorrow, again, you're sort of going through this looking what wants these conditions really, what wants 3 mile Cheltenham and soft ground, and you come out with Sykes. I'm afraid Sykes looks again just blindingly obvious. Ran a cracker against the Mighty Don in this first time up last year, only got done on the nod. That was off 139, 147 here, but he won off 143 at Haydock. He goes well after a break. Both times last year he went well after a break. First time up and then winning at Haydock after a 112-day break. So conditions should be fine. You won't mind soft ground. And he just looks the sort of obvious one in a race where you can pretty easily pick holes. With quite a few of these, particularly as far as this ground goes. I write quite interesting. He has one on soft ground. We'll need to defy a new high off a marker 141, but interesting that Richard Johnson keeps the ride. And Harriet Graham, a trainer I've actually got a bit of time for with her horses, I have to say. Potter's Legend's not been seen on a racecourse for getting best part of 18 months now, probably a bit more, but was a really useful chaser. He certainly won't mind sort of soft heavy ground. Stays all day. They're clearly using this as a warm-up for going back over fences, but it doesn't mean he can't run well here. Marker 134 is more than fair. Considering the last time we saw him, he was hosing up soft ground at Haydock for marker 130, so the handicap has given Potter's Legend a chance. And again, if he was a daft price, if they put him in big double figures, he'd be tempting as well. And then, as I say, the card sort of falls away a little bit. There's a couple of races towards the end of the day that's very hard to read. And the Novice Chase in particular, I've got no particular strong opinion on, and the 3 mile hurdle that's before that. The 3 mile hurdle before that's not got many runners, but which one of them again sort of locks into that sort of wanting 3 mile on soft ground, going well fresh, and it's a hard one to sort of call. So again, Ramesses the Tay is probably the one, but they'll be using, he won't be 100% fit tomorrow, that's for sure. They'll be using that as a warm up for Aintree next month. So a race I'm just sort of happy to sit and leave alone. So there we go. I think, as I say, there are enough bets in the handicaps at Cheltenham tomorrow to keep me happy, and I'll be playing those, I think, and may even try some sort of perm doubles and trebles and the like if the prices are right. I'll put them up in the morning. I will wish you all the very best of luck with tomorrow's cards at Newbury and Doncaster, because they look extremely difficult. Cheers, guys. I'll be back on Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed the 15 to follow as well this week. I've been on holiday down in Devon. I had a really nice time down there, so I'm fully refreshed, ready to get back with it next week. Okay, cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.